All right. What's up, everybody? Pork Good Engineering here again. So as we said before in the previous video about my Pork Kid crane, the previous design for my winch system was just geared so low that it was slow, to be honest, for a grappling gun. To make something a little bit more practical, I mean, it was effective, no doubt, because I lifted up fucking nearly 500 pounds, and it's it's pretty legit. I mean, it moves it nicely, nicely to a point where I'm going to use it for like hoisting equipment and stuff like that. But just slow, naturally. So we have this in exchange, essentially, for a little bit of strength. We are going to, well, actually not strength at the winch, to tell you the truth, but resistance at the handle, or excuse me, more resistance at the handle. It still has reverse gearing, naturally. This is a worm gear winch from Harbor Freight, $27. Put that down anyway. But it's a $27 Harbor Freight winch. It has a worm gear, and purchasing a small bicycle. You ever seen one of those? Actually, here's the pieces that are left of it. One of those little mini rent bikes. It has a small chain and a small sprocket, and equally smaller sprocket for the rear wheel. In reverse, this then essentially is more rotations at the handle for more force at the gear. In this Harbor Freight worm gear winch, it is 40-to-1 ratio at 2,000 pounds, which, off of just doing some quick math, at 200 pounds, that equals 5 pounds, if I'm not mistaken, or something close to it. But really, that's off of a fixed point, and you have to understand that's 5 pounds, wherever the handle is here. Not that. Oh, here it is. So, in theory, that is 5 pounds with one of these handles, with a very long crank. So it's a lot of leverage force. So essentially, at the actual hookup, it's probably like, for 200 pounds, it's probably like 40 pounds or 50 pounds. Not that one can't sit there and crank 50 pounds, with a small gear, or 5 pounds with this handle, rather. But it just makes it so that it's not comfortable, especially as one's in the air. You want to have two sides for at least a manual operation of the grappling gun. So, in a sense, we have the reverse gearing effect of not only the winch turning my weight into nothing, but then this essentially reducing the stress at the handle, and then having two handles will make it so that this entire system is very reliable, and you can kind of, with two sides, I'm holding the phone, but you can kind of with two sides just reel yourself up, more or less. Same operation as far as the gun's concerned. We've changed a couple of things, took out the bars and levers and yada yada. Breech lock, I'm going to put a lever here so that permanently locks it, so you can just kind of lock it and then the breech lock's locked. And then it would be fired essentially still off of this. But we'll come up with something for that now that the design's changed again. And then some further structuring, a little cross support in there, just kind of adding some support for this rear drive. It only has a slight bit of jiggle. You want it to have still a little bit of jiggle. And I'm going to put a tensioner on here, naturally mounted from here, so that I can take my chain on and off nicely, and it keeps everything situated. Unfortunately, the reel itself, because of the design of the worm gear, has to be sideways, but that's more than fine in my book. The other reason why I designed the first transmission is I not only needed it to be self-locking, but I thought I needed to reduce the gearing to be to where it was nothing. I did it a little bit too effectively, in a sense. So with that being said, This also is self-locking, but I didn't know that I didn't actually have to reduce it that much. So with that being said, here is the new design of our entirely manual. It will have a socket attachment at the front drive for a drill, so it can operate off of the same pretense as the first one. But this way, so that it's entirely built so that it is a manual or manually operated primary function grappling gun with no electricity, with just only a smidgen of elbow grease. You can load your cartridge. Not really secured in the vise, but you can load your cartridge, you know what I mean, yada yada, go about your normal shit, fucking rack your pin, and then, you know, point it at something, bang, mount your hook, reel yourself in, fucking get the line nice and taut, and then up you go. But I kind of also created this with military intention, as waterproofing electronics is very hard, and a lot of times electronics are sensitive. So even just an electric motor and, you know, trigger everything. But this way, so self-contained. This is an entirely functionable. Damn it! An entirely functionable handheld grappling gun. So this is all you need. Fucking some cartridges and some elbow grease. Bam, up you go, and then reel yourself up. Let me set her back down here. This actually, and to be fair, and to give, damn it, I'm holding this damn phone here trying to do this video, but I give credit also, and if this makes millions, hopefully it does. One can only pray for Kid Engineering is rich Kid Engineering, but a great friend of mine from the Marine Corps, Carlos Reyes, Don Carlito to me, good friend of mine. I am greatly humbled to have his insight, as always, as one friend could have to another, to have someone you can genuinely have these types of conversations with about grappling guns, and it can be serious. But if I make millions, which poor Kid Engineering could only wish that he makes millions, but Carlos will come along, as with my dad. My dad will also be rich if I am rich. But naturally, this could be even more modular had poor Kid Engineering had the funding. But as we have a $27 Harbor Freight winch and a $20 Runt bicycle from Let Go, we still got the job done. Please like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe, and wait for future videos. We're gonna have some testing here soon, as soon as I get everything entirely operational. But just as far as the base plan, figured I'd give you guys a heads up, and please enjoy, like and subscribe. Poor Kid Engineering.